you're on here with me today. I'm going to give people just a few more minutes to join. Hopefully we'll have some people in so they can learn about the movements that we're going to talk about. For those of you that don't know, every day I'm posting both a at-home workout with equipment and an at-home workout without equipment. So a lot of us over the years, or maybe even recently, have acquired some dumbbells at home or a kettlebell or a wall ball or something. So every day when I post a workout, I have a workout that you can use that equipment. And then I have a workout if you don't have anything at home at all and you are just working with your body weight and maybe like a towel, like we're going to use for the gliders today, or some textbooks or something, I put a non-equipment version up. So make sure each day you're checking in to see both the equipment version and the non-equipment version. It's really important that you know we have both. So today, for those of you that have tuned in, we have a workout that's 15 minutes for both, whether you have equipment or not, and you're going to do 10 reps of each movement. And we have kind of a lot of new movements today that you haven't seen before, unless you follow me on Fitco, and you've probably done one or two. But for most of my Revel people that come to the gym, these are going to be new movements that we don't have in regular classes. So I wanted to go live so you guys could see some of the movements and understand what they are before you get started on the workout. So the with equipment version is going to be 15 minutes, as many rounds as you can get in those 15 minutes of 10 renegade rows, 10 TikToks, 10 floor wipers, and 10 mountain climber pike ups, which I love because they include gliders, which everyone hates, but they're my favorite. And then the non-equipment version is going to have 10 push-ups, 10 floor TikToks, 10 inverted shoulder taps, and then 10 mountain climber pike ups. So couple things. If you have the with equipment version, you're going to need a pair of dumbbells, something to elevate your hands on for the TikToks. I'm going to use, and I've got a few things out so I can show you. I'm going to use plates, and I also have my parallettes. So if you are at home and using something in your house, you could use plates, you could use parallettes, you could use textbooks, you could use yoga blocks, anything that's going to give you a little bit of height off the ground. So that's for the TikToks. You're going to need dumbbells for the floor press, and then you're going to need a set of gliders. Most of you probably don't have gliders at home unless you move your furniture around a lot. I'm going to use gliders since I'm at the gym, and on this matte surface, they slide the best. But if you're at home, two things you can use. If you're on carpet, use paper plates. If you're on a hardwood floor or concrete, let's use towels or dish rags or something like that. So there's a ton of things you can use for the mountain climber pike ups. Don't feel that you have to have furniture gliders or you can't do them. If you have the non-equipment version and you're doing that today, we're obviously not going to be using dumbbells. We're going to be doing other arm movements without dumbbells. We're going to do the TikToks on the floor, not elevated like I have out, and we're going to still do the mountain climber pike ups, so you will need a towel, or excuse me, 2 towels, 2 dishcloths, or 2 paper plates or something like that. Again, unless you have furniture gliders at home. So I'm going to get started with the equipment version because we're going to use these dumbbells and then I can move them out of the way. So remember, each round has 10 reps of the movement. So you're doing the entire workout for 15 minutes and you're just going to repeat each movement 10 times as you work through the rounds. Keep track of those in a notepad or something next to you, so that way after you're done you can post on social what you got, or if you're a Revel Strength member, you're going to go back on Wodify and post your time. So the first thing we're going to talk about is this renegade row. Because we are doing, I think we did push-ups yesterday, I'm not going to add a push-up in this renegade row. If you wanted to be a rebel, you could always do 1 row, 2 row, and then a push-up. It's really up to you. For this workout today, it does not have a push-up with it. It is just a renegade row, okay? So I have hex head dumbbells, which means when I put my body weight on them, they don't roll easily. Okay, if you have, I call them my shake weights, round-headed dumbbells, you need to be careful when you put your body weight on them so they don't roll. Okay, so make sure you're going to be very safe depending on what dumbbell you have. If you have hex head, whether they're metal or rubber, you should be okay. All right, so when you're doing a renegade row, most of us are gonna come from our feet. You can always come from your knees if you need a little bit more assistance. When you do a renegade row, you're gonna want your feet a little bit wider than a normal push-up. So if I was in a normal push-up position, usually my feet would be together. In a renegade row, to provide myself with a little bit of stability for my shoulders, I'm gonna take my feet wider, okay? Your goal in this renegade row is to maintain your plank. So you're gonna keep your core tight, okay? You're gonna be nice and stable, and you're gonna keep your butt from piking up to the sky. You wanna keep it low, okay, in that good plank position. Again, hopefully you can see my feet, but they're a little bit wider. When I'm doing this renegade row, I want you to think about taking your dumbbell and pulling it to your belt. Okay? You're not just pulling it straight up. Notice when I pull it straight up, my shoulder internally rotates and my elbow flares out. That's not what I want. I don't want this part of my trap to be worked. I want my upper back to be doing the work. So I'm gonna pull that dumbbell, elbow back, shoulder back, squeezing my shoulder blade to my belt. Okay? That's where I want you to think about hitting this dumbbell every time you pull it back. So pretend that there's a string coming from your tricep to the ceiling and it's pulling you straight back instead of out to the side. It's gonna be really important for that shoulder health, okay? So again, feet are wide, you're in that good plank position, you're gonna pull that dumbbell back to your belt and then take it back down. Other side, pull it back, down, pull it back, down. Your goal when doing this renegade row is to not let your hips do a lot of moving, okay? A lot of that extra movement is not necessary in this renegade row. We want to maintain our tight core, maintain our strong plank, and then pull back to our belt, back down, pull back to our belt, back down. It does not have to be a fast movement. Remember, you have 15 minutes, right? So if you speed through it as fast as you can, not only are you gonna burn out and probably slow way down, but you're not gonna be doing the movement correctly, okay? So that's the renegade row. From your knees or from your feet, it's up to you, okay? That's with equipment, with dumbbells. It does not matter what size dumbbells you have. Next is the TikTok. If we were doing these in the gym, I'd have you on parallettes, which I'm gonna show you here in a second. Because we're doing this at home, I'm gonna use these plate stacks because for most of you, you're gonna be on textbooks or something. You can even be on 2 benches or, like I said, yoga blocks or something that's gonna elevate you off the ground a little bit, okay? If you wanted to give yourself an extra challenge, you can put your dumbbell in front of you to make sure you have a goal to get your heels up and over, okay? So I'm gonna show you the TikTok and then I'm gonna talk a little bit about it. So on the TikTok, my hands are on the plates, okay? Might have to turn you a little bit so you can see me. There we go. Okay, so your hands are on the plates. And you want these plates to be stacked so you're directly under your shoulder. If you were too wide, it would put undue stress on your shoulder. You want to be stacked right underneath you. So whether you're using textbooks, parallettes, or blocks, make sure those are not too far away from you. So stack them close, okay? My hands are gonna be firmly planted on the plates and I'm gonna be driving through my palms so I have a big, tall chest. Okay, my feet are gonna be out in front, both feet together. Now, when you do a TikTok, you're gonna lift your feet, take it over, touch. Lift, over, and touch. Notice how I lifted into an L-sit, slowly came over and touched briefly with my heel, lifted, came over, touched briefly with my heel. What I don't want you to do is kind of kick over, okay? This does not require much abs when you're just kicking over the dumbbell. You wanna lift and lower each time as much as you can. Remember, we only have 10 reps, So make them quality and make them count. Go slow. Do 5 and 5 if you have to, but try not to bounce. You want to be as strict and as controlled as you can, touching on each side of that dumbbell. And you don't have to have the dumbbell. You can do that movement without, okay? Just lifting and lowering your feet. Being elevated off the floor is going to give you a little bit of a challenge. Same thing if you were on parallettes or if you had 2 benches on each side. You're going to lift, lower, touch, lift, lower, touch, okay? So that's the TikTok. Remember, those of you that are just joining us, we are in the equipment version of today's workout. So everything I'm showing you is going to have a dumbbell, the plates, the gliders, stuff at home that you can use for this, okay? I'm going to show you the non-equipment version here in a second. So those of you that don't have equipment at home and are tuning in for that part, give me just a few minutes and we'll get to the non-equipment version, okay? So next on our list is going to be a floor press. This is what you're going to use dumbbells for this, and I'm going to show you laying directly on the floor, and then I'm going to show you how I would elevate if I had plates at home, just to give myself a little bit more room in my elbows. The floor press is like a bench press, except you're laying on the floor. So the floor is going to limit how far you can come down with that weight. Okay, I'm going to be using 2 dumbbells. If you had 1 kettlebell at home or maybe a heavy textbook, you could do the same thing. You're just going to be holding on to that object with both hands instead of 1 in each arm. Okay, so when you're doing this floor press, you're going to be laying down on the ground. Okay, you want to make sure when you're here, your back is firmly pressed on the ground. You don't want a big arch in your back. Let's go ahead and keep that back firmly planted. I'm going to have my feet out, or you can have your feet up, whatever feels more comfortable. Okay, you're going to take those dumbbells in a 90-degree angle, and we're actually going to keep our palms facing out today. And you're going to drive that dumbbell up to the sky, okay, nice and controlled, and then come back down. Press up and down. Press up and down. You may be able to go a little bit heavier than you're going in your renegade rows. So if you have 2 sets of dumbbells, 1 heavier, 1 lighter, you could always go heavier for the dumbbell press and then a little lighter for the renegade row. Okay? Again, pressing up and down. Now again, I said that I like a little bit extra room for my elbows to drop. So I can also elevate my back on the textbooks or whatever I'm using for the TikTok. And I'll show you what I mean here in a second. So I'm going to come down over the plates with my back. I'm going to elevate my butt in a good glute bridge position. And I'm going to do the same press, except it's going to allow me to get a little bit lower with my elbows and get that dumbbell a little closer to my chest. This is going to give me a little bit extra movement in my pecs instead of just solely in my shoulders. But when you're doing that, make sure you keep your butt up, okay? You don't want that butt to sag and your back to super arch. We want that rib cage to be held down in that good in that good plank position as we press. So that's a little bit advanced movement to that floor press if you wanted a little extra room in that press, okay? So that's the dumbbell floor press. The very last thing we're going to talk about is our mountain climber pike up. Now, again, this is my favorite thing. I have gliders at the gym because if you have stall mats at home, the gliders are really nice to slide around on. If you're at home, you're going to use paper plates or a set of dishcloths, depending on if you're on carpet or on hardwood. So I'm going to do this with straight legs for the pike up. You don't have to be as straight as I am. My hamstrings are a little bit extra flexible, so it helps a little bit. So in this position, you're going to have your feet on the gliders or the washcloth, depending on what you're using. So just my toes are on that piece of equipment. My hands are stacked under my shoulders, wrists and shoulders in line, just like if I was doing a push-up. So a couple things, you don't want to be too far forward and you don't want to be too wide. You're nice and stacked, okay? So in a good plank, a mountain climber pike up is going to be 4 mountain climbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to pike your butt up to the sky and then back down. Okay, speed it up a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, pike up, down. 1, 2, 3, 4, pike up, down. Okay, again, you don't have to have straight legs on the pike up. If you have extra tight hamstrings, that position is going to be pretty hard for you. You can go as slow or as fast as you need to, and you can always tuck your knees into your chest in kind of a tuck position instead of a pike up. So that would look like this. Feet on the glider, okay? Plank position. 1, 2, 3, 4, tuck in and out, okay? So that's a great way to scale if that pike up is a little too hard. Remember, scale this however you need to. Maybe in round 1, you're doing pike ups. In round 3, you're doing tuck ups. It's really up to you and however you need to modify and scale this workout for you to get a good workout, okay? And that movement is gonna be done both in the equipment version and the non-equipment version, because I assume all of you have dishcloths or paper plates at home. So you can use both for that. So even though you're not using dumbbells in the non-equipment version, you will still do those pike ups, okay? So as we transition over into the non-equipment version of the workout, you will not be doing renegade rows because we don't have dumbbells at home. So instead, you're doing push-ups, okay? Just the standard push-up. I'm gonna talk about a couple ways to scale it. If you're doing a regular push-up, you always wanna make sure your hands are directly under your shoulder. So wrist, elbow, shoulder is in line. You don't wanna be, just like I was talking about with those pike ups, too far forward. Now, a couple things. I watch so many people do that do 10, give 10 push-up challenge, and although it was a really great idea, we had a ton of really bad form on the push-ups, okay? If you cannot do a really strong push-ups with your elbows back on your feet, go ahead and come from your knees. And go from your knees as long as it takes to keep a good solid push-up. Because this position is not okay for your push-up. What happens is you internally rotate your shoulder. Your elbows are high, your shoulder is internally rotated, and now you're pushing from a bad position, okay? When we do a push-up, you want this shoulder to be down your back. You want your elbows to be back so your upper back is doing the work and your shoulder is correctly setting in the shoulder girdle, okay? It's so, so, so important when you're doing push-ups. So if changing your push-up positioning, like I'm telling you to, makes push-ups become harder, that's okay. Okay, it just means you're doing it correctly and you're more likely to not injure yourself, okay, by doing it correctly. So go ahead, scale it down, take the number down, take yourself to your knees, use a band. I'll show you that here in a second. But any way you can adjust your push-ups to do them correctly is gonna be great. So if from now on, you're gonna do 10, give 10, make sure those push-ups are in a perfect position, okay? So back to the push-up, rant is over. Your hands are underneath your shoulders, your elbows are gonna be back. You're in that good solid plank position. So we're not piked up and we're definitely not sagging with our hips. We're in that good solid position. We're coming all the way down to our chest. Let me back up a little bit. All the way down to our chest. Notice how my thighs and knees are up off the ground. My hands are right out from my chest. My elbows are back. And I'm using my upper back to press tall. Again, down and up. It is so important that you get that full range. So if you're doing them from your feet and only going to here, let's go ahead and drop to our knees, tuck that butt in place, coming down to your chest, same thing, elbows back, and then pressing back up. You can also elevate on a surface, okay, to make them a little bit easier, or a bench, or something higher. That's a great way to scale the push-up if going flat is really hard. You can also use a band. I have these slingshots at the gym, and I know a lot of my members have these as well. Okay, we're paused for a second, I was confused. But what's awesome about these is when you use them for a push-up, they keep your elbows back. So they don't allow you to do a push-up in a poor position. Or if you're doing them in a poor position, you're really trying hard to do them like that. So the band keeps your elbows back. It gives your chest something to cradle as you go down and act almost as a little trampoline as you come up. So that's a great way to scale if you need to, if you're at home and have a booty band. I emailed out everyone a five things you should have in your home gym, and this was one of them. So if you got that email, go back into that link and click on it. I think the one I tagged was a bear complex. It really doesn't matter. As long as it's a band, it's thick, it's not one of the elastic bands. This is fabric, okay? So make sure you have one of these at home if you need to scale for your push-ups. So, long story short, those are for your push-ups. You're doing those in place of renegade rows. Now your floor TikToks are gonna be the same, except you're not elevating on anything with your arms. You're actually gonna sit on the floor with your booty, and you're gonna have your hands behind you to give you a little bit of leverage. You're still going to work in keeping all of your legs controlled and using your core. You're not gonna kick your legs over, okay? You want your feet together, leaning back. You're gonna lift and touch, lift, touch, lift, touch, okay? I'm able to go a little bit higher with my feet since I'm on the ground. You can always put a dumbbell or something, really tall water bottle at home that I could put down if I wanted to give myself something to come over, okay? Touch and touch and touch, right? So that gives me a higher goal to take those legs up and over with control. So you're not kicking, use those abs to lift and lower. And I don't know if I said this in the equipment version, but every time you go over is 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and if I didn't mention it in the renegade row, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. A little bit different counting there. So if you're unsure about the counting, just post a comment in the video and I will message you and let you know, okay? Okay, so that was the floor TikToks. Next, we're gonna do an inverted shoulder tap. So you're gonna need a bench. You can use the plates or the textbook, something that's gonna get you inverted so you can do these shoulder taps. You can even actually walk up a wall if you wanted to. So something that's gonna keep you in an inverted position, right? And I'll show you how to scale these if needed. So I'm gonna use this bench because it's close and I have it. I have a stool at home that I would use for this if I was at home and didn't have access to a bench. So in the inverted shoulder taps, your feet are gonna go on the bench. You're gonna walk back into an inverted position, okay? And you're gonna touch your opposite shoulder with that other hand, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then walk back out. So that's what we're doing for the floor press today. I looked up, hopefully so you could hear me, but if you were doing that motion, go ahead and keep your chin tucked. So that way your spine could stay in line. Walk your hands back, touch, 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 touch. Each time you touch those shoulders, it's gonna be 1. So that's for the inverted shoulder tap. We're replacing in the equipment version for the dumbbell press, okay? If you needed a scale for that, you could always do it in a plank position and just touch, 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 touch. Your goal would be to not move your hips a lot when doing that motion. Try to stay as flat as you can in that plank position. It requires a ton more core stability to not switch your hips back and forth. So you're not only getting a shoulder workout, you're also getting a core workout, which is super important, all right? If you are ever in my class or you ever listen to any of my videos, I talk about how the core protects the back, and it's so important. I cannot emphasize it enough. If you have back pain, it's because your core is weak. Instead of working your back, revert to working your core and see if you can strengthen your back that way. Okay, super important. And then the mountain climber pike up is the same we were doing with the gliders. You're gonna be using a set of dishcloths or a paper plate. Quick review. On your feet, 1, 2, 3, 4, pike up. 1, 2, 3, 4, pike up. Okay, so when you count those, 1, 2, 3, 4, pike up is 1. You have 10 of those, okay? So 10 reps of each movement for the workout. And then the whole workout is 15 minutes. So you should get a really good solid burn with that workout. I was just reading some of the comments. If you guys have any questions, make sure that you put them in the comments of this video, and I'll always direct message you and either tag a video or send you this video with a little clip that you need. So I want you to make sure that whenever you're doing these workouts, you always know exactly what to do. And I did this with Becca yesterday, or not yesterday, I guess it was Saturday, but she was doing a movement at home and felt like it was not going correctly. All she did was FaceTime me. You could direct message me, and I helped her through the movement, and I got to see her and adjust her a little bit, so that way as she continued to work at home, she knew exactly what she was doing wrong and how to fix it. So if you ever feel completely lost, like I don't even know what I'm doing and I know I'm doing it wrong, just send me a quick video. And she did this as well with her push-ups. The band she was using was a little too big and it just wasn't doing it correctly for her. So we made sure she got a little bit smaller band, so that way as she was doing the push-ups, it worked a ton better for her. So always reach out if you need anything. Hopefully this video helped go through each of the movements for both workouts today. I'll be posting this on YouTube, so if you lose any of it or you're not sure, I'll go ahead and post it so you have it. So good job today, guys. I'm so proud of you guys. I know it's getting hard to work out at home. I know, especially with the rain yesterday, maybe we felt a little bit a lack of motivation, but we're gonna do a Zoom workout tomorrow at 5:30. I'm gonna try to keep posting these live videos and the YouTube videos, so make sure that you stay involved, stay connected, and that's gonna help with that motivation every single day, okay? So thank you for watching. Great job, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.